Hello everyone, and welcome to Dream Team. I'm Alice Langlois.
And I'm Trent Lenkarski.
And we're on episode 6 already.
Episode 6, whoa.
I know,
time is just...
Yeah, really going by. It's almost Earth Day. So if you hear this on or after Earth Day, make sure you go outside and get some nature time.
What day is Earth Day?
The 22nd.
Whoa.
We're recording this on the 21st, so you might hear it after, but if so, I hope you got outside and got some sunshine, or looked at a tree, or smelled a leaf.
Have had or have a happy Earth Day.
And if you have any cool dreams about the Earth, send them to us.
Yeah. We love the Earth.
Mm-hmm.
What do you say? I start us off with some dreams.
Yeah. What's been going on inside that sleepy brain?
All right, so I have a couple older ones. I haven't actually had that many dreams lately. Also, I am getting over a little bit of a cold, so I might sound a little stuffy, but it'll be all right. I'm going to do 2 shorter ones. So this dream I had back in October. So it took place on a cruise ship, and I don't remember too much about it. I just remember it was like kind of chaotic, and everyone thought that the ship was sinking.
Oh no.
Yeah, I don't know if it actually was or not, but everyone thought it was.
Oh.
And then one of my friends was there, and he was just casually throwing stuff overboard. Like, I don't know, to help the ship not sink.
Oh.
But he was just very like nonchalant. I was like, what are you doing? He's like, I don't know, I'm just throwing stuff over. So I don't know if it was to help the ship from not sinking or if it was just for fun. But so he was doing that. I have a note that says ship didn't actually sink. So in my dream, it didn't sink. And then the only other note I have on that is Alice was my roommate on the boat. So I guess we were on a cruise ship
Hell
together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds fun.
So I have that one. Just a little short one, and then I have another short one from last month, actually, from March. And this one I remember a little bit better, but it's still just really short. Like, not much happened. So I was kind of riding on the front of, the only way I can describe it is like a children's roller coaster. So just like a small, like
a little one.
Yeah. But it was like decorated like a train. So just like a really small train, like on train tracks. And I was just like sitting on like the front part, like, like almost like straddling it kind of.
Like, were you too big for it?
Yeah, I think so. But like, which, that's kind of weird in itself. But the thing that really stuck out was that it was just going like really fast on these like mountains and hills. And I also have another note that says that it was in a huge cemetery.
Oh my gosh.
And so it would go like super fast with these like steep hills and then go like straight down, and then it would like stop like right before it like hit a gravestone and like turn around it, and
what the
like
heck?
It was just like this crazy fast like roller coaster in my dream. But it was also like decorated like a children's one. So don't know how it ended. I don't know if I crashed or anything. I guess I just woke up from that. I probably...
Do you remember... Do you remember if you felt scared? Like, were you scared or were you having a good time?
Yeah, I think I was scared.
It sounds scary,
Yeah.
but also, like, sometimes amusement park rides are, thrilling or whatever.
Yeah, it was more like tense than anything, because it was like... I think I was more... Because it was like a graveyard. Like, it was like in a graveyard, so I was like more worried, like, oh my god, we're gonna crash and like ruin these like gravestones. Like, no, like that's so like disrespectful, blah blah blah. Like, I was like, it was more like tense in that sense than like this is this horrifying roller coaster. So, and that's pretty much all I have for notes for those two. I haven't had that many dreams lately.
That's wild.
But yeah,
they both kind of involved like modes of transport not
Yes.
doing what they should be doing.
Yes, very true.
Or at least people freaking out about them.
Yeah. In the second one, on the roller coaster one, I think it was just me. Like,
There was nobody else on it behind you?
Yeah. No, I don't, not that I remember.
Weird.
But I don't know. Maybe there was somebody who ran it, so I was like, why would they set it up like this? This is like bad. Like, what if this like goes off the rails and like ruins a bunch of graves?
I love that you were thinking about the not desecrating a grave. Yeah. Like out of anything you could have been afraid of. Like, yeah. That's very considerate of your dream self.
Yeah. And I think it was a pretty fun roller coaster overall, though.
Oh, okay.
Wouldn't go,
would you ride on it if it wasn't in a cemetery?
Maybe. A pretty good roller coaster, 4 out of 5 stars. Wouldn't ride again.
Too many gravestones.
Too many gravestones.
This would have been a great ride if it wasn't for all the gravestones.
Too scared of property damage.
Yeah, it was a fun ride, but I was so stressed out the whole time because I was worried about damaging somebody's gravesite. Mm-hmm. Kind of took away from the fun.
Yeah.
Great ride though.
10 out of 10. But yeah, that's cool. All I got from my little noggin.
Those are awesome. Thank you for sharing.
Of course.
I've got another crazy one to share this week.
Ooh.
It's from back in 2021, I think, and it's called The Heist.
Whoa.
I stand before a tall, nondescript office building in a city. There's a man with me, wearing a brown hoodie. He's here to sneak me inside. He thinks I'm here to purchase some black market items, but one of the shady businessmen at this office has something that belongs to me. He sneaks me into the building, passing an unsuspecting security guard, and we take an elevator to one of the upper floors. We reach one of many unassuming office rooms, and the man leaves me to greet another man inside. On a cluttered table in the office are the illegal items I've pretended to be interested in. Dozens of tiny vials of human tears, given willingly by desperate people for a meager amount of money, only to be savored by the rich as some sort of absurd health tonic. Huh. The businessman offers me a vial of tears to sample before negotiating a purchase. I reluctantly take a sip, only to find it unremarkable, perhaps a little salty. I pretend to be impressed, noting complex flavors and hints of emotion as if it were a fine wine. And the man smiles at me. He motions for me to come sit on a nearby couch with him to discuss our dealings, and as I approach, I notice another cluttered table near the window, overlooking the city below. My eyes dart to a stack of documents, my own personal documents, my government identification, the things I've come to steal. I realize the man must not have looked too closely at those papers, as he does not seem to recognize me or be suspicious at all. Sitting on the couch, the man quickly makes a move on me, getting on top of me and kissing me against my will. I'm disgusted and terrified, but so close to completing my goal. So I gently shove him off and ask if I can sit on his lap instead, giving me a better angle of escape. Just then, the man from earlier who snuck me in knocks on the door and warns that police are nearby and have caught wind of our shady dealings. The businessman leaps from the couch and frantically begins hiding the vials of tears. In the flurry of motion, I grab the stack of personal documents and rush to the window, which is cracked open and overlooking the roof of a shorter building nearby. I ask the man not to look at me, and he obliges, or is perhaps too distracted in hiding his illegal items. Holding the papers between my teeth, I grip the window frame and leap from it into a free fall, only to transform into a raven and glide to the adjacent rooftop. I turn back into a human and call to the businessman, waving goodbye, and return to the form of a raven as soon as I am sure he can no longer see me. I fly into a brick alleyway, but I can still hear police searching nearby. I figure they are probably seeking to bust the illegal human tear collection, but I also know that they could be after me. In this city, all shapeshifters are wanted by the government.
Ooh.
I hide in the alleyways, but the police keep getting closer. In my terror, I almost lose my papers, dropping a few shreds here and there. I can tell the police are searching around the building I landed on, picking up those very shreds. Looking for an inconspicuous means of escape, I turn into a larger bird of prey, just as the police round the corner. I pretend to be hunting the many rats in the alleyway, and then act startled by the approaching officers, flying up and away in a rush of feathers. Eventually, I make it to a safe location outside of the city, a garden of some kind, and wake up. Heist complete.
You did it.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I felt like I was in like a Mission Impossible movie or something. Jumping out a window, doing crazy shit. Manipulating people.
Yeah, I love the world too. It's illegal to shapeshift.
I wish I got to see more of it. I didn't really write anything down about the whole like personal documents thing, but I think that maybe those documents might have had information about me being a shapeshifter, and that's why I wanted to steal them. I didn't want anybody to have any information about me.
That makes sense.
And someone must have tipped me off that this guy who like collects illegal things had found someone must have sold him those documents, and he just was too lazy to look at them or something. But I was like, trying to get any trace of me off the grid, as it were.
Very good.
Yeah, it was fun. Scary, but fun.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I picture it like a noir film almost. Like almost like black and white or very
Everything
dark.
was like sepia toned.
Ah, okay.
Everything was like brown and gray and like dusty, kind of. The guy was in a brown hoodie. The businessman was in sort of like a brown suit. It was just kind of like the world was very like dull and dark and dingy. I don't know.
I can see that.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah, very good.
The tears were so gross. It was yucky. I had to because I didn't want him to think I was like, suspicious or anything, but it was just gross.
You drank human tears. Ew.
I know. I remember thinking that like, oh man, like rich people are so awful and disgusting.
Tones of hopelessness and depression.
Delicious. It was literally, it was like a Batman kind of like Gotham City satirical, like, like not so absurd that it is like seems fake, but just absurd enough that you're like, is this?
Yeah.
Did somebody actually do this?
No, I could totally see that. Yeah.
I mean, I'm pretty sure that like people have accused our own real life government officials of using like baby stem cells or whatever to like keep themselves alive or something. Weird conspiracies like that are totally not out of the question.
Yeah. Oh, there's a helicopter. Just as we
Hide
talk
all your
about
tears.
that, there's a helicopter.
Hide all your tears and my government ID.
Yeah.
They're looking for me. Good thing I'm in not where you are.
Yeah.
Don't tip them off.
Okay. No, I won't tell them.
All right, we should change the subject before they catch on to me.
Yeah.
I've got some cool dream facts for you.
Whoa.
I found myself very curious this week about animals dreaming, like not anything besides a human, basically. Oh. I was listening to a podcast about dolphins, and they don't sleep the way that we do. They sleep with only half their brain at a time.
Oh, this sounds familiar.
Because they have to be awake to breathe. They breathe consciously. We breathe without even thinking about it. Our bodies just do it. So when we go to sleep, our bodies keep breathing. But a dolphin has to think like, okay, I'm going to breathe now, basically. So they can't ever fully be asleep. So they do a half of their brain at a time.
That's so weird.
I thought that was so interesting, but then I was like, oh shit, well then can they dream if they're always like half awake, even when they're trying to sleep?
Yeah.
So I started looking into it, and it's really interesting. Basically, so far in science, we believe that if you can do REM sleep, you can probably dream. And we know that mammals have REM sleep, and birds, and some reptiles. So it's fairly safe to say that most mammals can have dreams, and birds, and a couple reptiles as far as we know. And in terms of dolphins, we're just not sure.
Oh.
Maybe?
Well, they are mammals,
There are
though,
some.
so what?
They are mammals, but they don't sleep like other mammals.
Oh, that's so weird.
It's called, some birds do it too, and I found myself wondering if those birds, because there are birds that fly really long distances to migrate, so they have to sleep while they're flying, and they do the same thing.
What?
Yeah, it's called unit hemispheric slow wave sleep.
What the heck?
Yeah,
I thought they would just like take sleep for the night. What?
No. So there are some birds, and I apologize, I didn't include this in my notes. This is a completely different fact. There are some birds that have to fly like over huge stretches of ocean.
Yeah.
Like thousands of miles, and there's nowhere to land.
Mm.
So they sleep while they're flying by doing half a brain at a time.
That's so interesting.
It's crazy, yeah. So I think...
How do they even do that?
I mean, evolution, I guess.
What is that?
So I think...
Whoa. I'm sorry, I'm fascinated by this. Like,
no, isn't it crazy?
What does that feel like in your
absolutely...
head to be like, all right, switching brain sides that I'm sleeping in?
I don't know. And I know in this podcast I was listening to about the dolphins, one of the researchers did say that you can tell when a dolphin is asleep because they'll have one eye closed on the side of the brain that's sleeping. I don't know if it's the same for birds. I feel like that would be kind of impractical, but I'm not sure. But I think for animals that do that, it's not clear whether or not they can dream, because that might be really dangerous if you're trying to stay awake in the air or in the water where a predator might get you, or you might fall out of the sky or drown.
Yeah.
So if they do dream, it's probably not in the same way that we do.
Oh yeah, that'd be weird.
But I thought that was so interesting, and there's at least one report of a researcher saying that they observed a pilot whale dreaming, but I don't really know how they were able to tell that was true.
Dude, trust me, I saw it.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. I was like reading all these articles about animals dreaming, and like it seemed like the general consensus is like we can do what we can to research these like waves of sleep and like their brain activity,
right.
But you also can't just like ask a cat if they were just dreaming, or like a bird or a lizard. So like, who's to say that when they have REM sleep they dream? And also, who's to say that animals that don't experience REM sleep don't dream?
Yeah.
Because I was like, after I researched that, I was like, well, does that mean all invertebrates just can't dream? Like bugs and fish or not fish, but like, starfish, jellyfish, like
dream.
Little creatures like that. And I saw, I mean, it generally seemed like scientists were like, it's kind of hard to like study if a bug is dreaming in general. Mm-hmm. It's kind of hard to like, measure their brain activity, something that small. But there was one paper that I saw, a paper where somebody was observing a jumping spider, and they said it was experiencing REM sleep and like twitching around. So
interesting.
Maybe it's very like up in the air.
Yo, trust me,
which
I
makes
saw
sense,
it.
because
the
like
spider was dreaming though.
I mean, we don't even really fully know why people dream, right. So it kind of makes sense. Do you
have to be in REM sleep to dream, or can it happen?
Yes.
Can it happen like not REM?
Dreams happen in REM sleep.
Oh.
As far as I know.
Okay.
It's specifically this like slow wave sleep activity, and that is like primarily when dreams are happening. They don't happen on any of the other sleep stages around REM. So they think that us and birds and reptiles must have shared some kind of like common ancestor that evolved REM sleep, and we all kind of retained that ability. It's so interesting, right? Like I have no idea how people are figuring this stuff out. It's a lot of just like measuring brain activity, and they're able to tell what's going on. But yeah, it's kind of wild.
I did just Google it. It says that you can dream outside of REM sleep, just as a little show note.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it says dreaming can occur in both rapid eye movement and non-REM sleep.
That's so interesting. And I wonder, like...
I think it happens more often in REM is what it is.
So maybe that's why they're using it as an indicator if other animals can dream or not. So, like, you know, if an animal is capable of REM, that means maybe they're more likely to have dreams?
Yeah, that must be it.
Now I'm wondering if even more things... Next week's episode, spoiler, do plants dream? Who knows?
Whoa.
Alice is on the case.
Oh, man. Do plants sleep?
I don't know. I have no idea. Now I want to know. It's crazy. It's like, yeah. Not to mention, like, I don't even know, like, what do they all dream about? There was one article I read that was talking about what people might hypothesize animals dream about. And they were talking about how, like, it depends on what... do you hear my cat?
Yeah.
Okay.
Speaking of animals...
I'm going to let her in so that she doesn't interrupt the podcast.
Okay.
Brief intermission. Get in here.
Meow.
Shut up.
Meow.
Shut up.
Meow.
Now you be quiet. Be quiet. Be quiet. I know you just took a nap and you want to tell me about what you dreamed about, huh?
Speaking...
She just woke up from a nap and she always talks to me when she does that.
By her
Why don't you go sit on my bed or something? You better not try to get back outside the door. Here, I'll plug in the heating pad. That usually does the trick.
I'm leaving this all in.
Oh boy.
No, I'm gonna leave some of it because it's funny.
If it's funny and makes sense, then I don't mind. Here you go. Want to take another nap on the heating pad? Here. I'm not letting you back outside because you're just going to scream outside my door again. I'm going to get back to my podcast. Nutso cat. All right. I remember where I was.
We're talking about plants?
Yeah, I have one more animal dream thing to share.
Okay.
One of the articles I read was talking more about what scientists think animals dream about. And something interesting to think about was, like, what different senses different animals rely on to navigate the world. So they were saying, like, humans, we're very visual. We see very well and we rely a lot on what we see. And so for people, our dreams are usually very visual. Same thing with animals like cats. But they were saying animals like mice, they don't rely on their vision very much. They can't see very well. They rely heavily on smell and touch and hearing. So a mouse dream might be a bunch of smells and feelings and sounds. And that was really, like, I couldn't really fathom that because I've never had a dream like that.
Yeah.
But it seems really interesting to me to think about.
Yeah. And we talked about that. Was it last episode or the one before that about having, like, that might have been a few episodes ago, like tasting in dreams.
Right.
Where it's like,
and it's like,
it does happen sometimes, but
we don't necessarily navigate the world primarily through taste.
Yeah.
So
True.
But yeah, I don't know. I thought all of that was really interesting. A lot to think about and wonder about. And a part of science that we still really don't know a lot of.
Yeah. I'm excited I'm excited for next week to learn if plants dream.
I know. Do plants dream? Do rocks dream? Does the earth dream?
I know plants have, like, cycles. They have like a daily
cycle.
cycle.
I mean, they definitely sleep.
Yeah.
They need to have periods of sleep. Otherwise they'll die.
Yeah. There's probably some nonsense about photoreceptors or something. Because, like, if they...
No spoilers.
Sorry. I mean, if they don't have sunlight, then they're like, all right, well, no need for me to be making whatever.
Yeah, they can definitely... They have periods of dormancy, and I wonder, like, what's going on? I don't know. What about mushrooms?
Where is their brain? Where's the plant brain?
Or like if an animal like a jellyfish doesn't have a brain as we define it, can they dream? Find out on next week's episode of Dream Team.
Cool.
But all that aside, we should probably get to our listener submissions.
Yeah.
We have a really cool and really long one this week from Frederick, who I think we might have read one of his dreams in one of the first episodes, if not the first episode of the podcast. So it was exciting to see an email from him again.
Which one was that?
The Moth Children dream. Do you remember?
Oh, yeah.
And I was excited to see...
exploded out of his shoulder.
Yeah, that was such a crazy one. This one's also a doozy, and it's quite long, so Trent and I are gonna read it on and off together.
Yeah.
I will begin. Hi, Alice and Trent. I wanted to share with you one of the biggest and one of my favorite mysteries from my dreams. It's not a single dream, but instead more of a recurring theme or set of characters. For some context, know that a big chunk of my dreams seem to take place in a city location, loosely based on my home city. They take place in or around the city, and they all feel connected, as if I could draw a map based on my dreams. In all of the dreams that take place here, I am myself. The dreams here range from wacky to mundane. I've been on the run from a witch that cloned herself. I once discovered portals that can be used as shortcuts across the city. And once I couldn't cross a bridge due to a sea monster in the river that runs through the city and under said bridge. I also have very mundane dreams in this place too. Some where I go for walks, a lot where I'm thrift shopping, and one about me stealing a bar stool from one of the bars. However, there is something skulking about in this dreamland. Something I've encountered many times, and will likely encounter many more times to come. There seems to exist a series of sentient, maze-like entities. These entities seem to have three things in common. They are all a maze of some kind. I have found myself at them more than once, and they all feed on something. So far, I have discovered 3 of these entities inside my dreamland. The first I will tell you about is the one I know the most about, and probably the most dangerous. It is a small city named Pendulum. Usually to get to Pendulum, you need to get there by train. It is a ringed city placed on top of a hill on a small island. The train goes to Pendulum once every 12 hours. When you first arrive, you see there are a lot of steps up to get to the city. But fortunately, if you are feeling lazy, there is a little ski lift of sorts that brings you up and down. You arrive on the morning train and head home 12 hours later on the evening train. There is usually only enough time to hang around the first ring, which is full of shops and food places and the usual city stuff. You feel like you discovered a gem of a place that nobody else knows, so you keep coming back. Eventually, one evening, you decide you don't feel like walking down all those stairs to get back to the train, so you wait some time for the ski lift to come back up. It doesn't, and there isn't enough time to make it to the train. You are stranded for the night. Pendulum at night is much different. Things start to change and morph. The denizens shift into shadowy creatures. Some are tall with long necks, and some are small like mice. They don't look like humans anymore. They don't seem evil, but give off a more lost soul vibe. The morning comes and you wait for the train bright and early. It never comes. It also doesn't return in the evening. This is when you start to realize you are trapped. There is no way away from the city, so you decide to venture deeper. The second ring of the city still seems very city-like, but it changes often. You may find someplace strange, like a temple dedicated to a god you've never heard of. Or you might just find more shops and cafes. It's possible to turn a corner and go back to find all the buildings have swapped with different ones. If you wander in deeper, you find the innermost ring. This place is chaotic. The buildings could be any style or any shape. They may sell random items for random prices, and different currencies. I found the inner ring so bemusing, but didn't want to venture in further than the gate because I feared if I took my eyes off the gate to the inner ring, I might never see it again, and be stuck wandering eternally. Fortunately, I woke from the dream where I was stuck in Pendulum, and I haven't been stuck there since. It was clear to me from my time that I was stuck there that pendulum lures you in, traps you, and eventually you lose yourself, becoming just another part of the city. Pendulum eats people. I have found myself there on several other occasions, usually when I wander up a hill and start to notice myself wandering into a ringed city, but I know enough to get out of there as soon as I can.
And I will read the second entity. Another entity is one I've only seen twice. I once found myself peering into some sort of other place. It felt like my dreamland, but almost more like a place behind it. It was dark and empty and reminded me a bit of the Upside Down from Stranger Things. It felt like a place I wasn't meant to see. What I saw in there was a big gray building. It was large and almost cube-like in shape and had no windows. There were two things I knew with certainty about this building. The first is, within it was another of the maze entities. The second was that I had seen it before, long ago. I was only there to behold it for a few moments before I woke up. The fact that it seemed so familiar got me thinking back to other dreams, trying to figure out where I knew it from. I managed to identify it as a building I knew, called Tiny Tots Play Center. It was a place I had found myself in during a dream once as a young child. It had everything a kid would want to have fun. It had ball pits, animatronics, climbing ropes, and slides. It was amazing. The biggest thing I remember about the people of this place was there was a lot of other children there with me, but absolutely no adults. Children could do whatever they wanted here. I found I was fond of the jelly bean dispensers. I remember this building's theme song that would play every so often. Lots and lots for tiny tots and more. It was great until children started to get territorial. I'd want to use the slides or ball pit, but other children would say no and shoo me away. This mindset and conflict would just lead to more. Soon I claimed the jelly bean dispensers as my territory. This led to war among the children. Not an actual violent war, but instead the kind children would have. Hoarding things, chasing people away, pelting each other with balls from the ball pit, or pushing each other. Eventually, all fun was gone, and everyone was unhappy and bitter. We were filled with hate for one another, and had segregated and isolated ourselves. All while that stupid theme song played and mocked us. Lots and lots for tiny tots, and more. Those are my only encounters with the tiny tots, as I believe it only feeds off children. I think it sucks the joy from them, and feeds on their own self-inflicted misery and hatred.
The third entity is the one I hate the most, and the one I encounter the most often. I know it only as the train station because that's what it is. It is simply a train station. However, it is the most confusing and chaotic place I have ever been. All I want to do is get a train somewhere, but the station makes it impossibly complicated. I've tried going to wait for my train, followed the signs, only to discover it's directed me to the car park, where there is most definitely no trains and only parked cars. Other times, it will have you wait in line for ages, only to just find yourself somewhere random within the station and no closer to getting your train. Once it sent me on a boat instead of a train. Eventually, you will find your train, or at least a train. Once the train simply dropped me off at the end of the line without ever actually going to my destination. It just left me next to a field on an old country road. There wasn't even any train tracks there. The train station simply feeds on chaos, and is probably the most harmless of the maze entities so far, but it is no doubt the most annoying. I hate it with every fiber of my being. Also, I believe the station will occasionally feed people to pendulum, and that's how I got there in the first place. These three are the only of those entities I've encountered so far, but I wouldn't be surprised if I find more someday. I feel like there is possibly one on the moon, but I have a feeling that was just the train station screwing with me by dropping me off on the moon. I just wanted to share with you about these strange mazes, as they seem to pop up occasionally to torment me. As much as I hate encouraging them, it does seem to add some flavor and mystery to my dreams. Regards, Frederick.
Wow. Those are crazy.
Crazy. It reminds me so much of Welcome to Night Vale.
Yeah.
Just like hostile architecture at its finest. Sentient hostile architecture.
That's so cool.
And I wonder, Frederick, if you have a lot of stress about taking trains.
That would definitely make sense.
Public transit is not always easy. I take public transit every day to work, so I wouldn't be surprised if I start having some stressful dreams about it soon.
Yeah. When you started that, when you were talking about how stressful and chaotic it was, I was going to make a joke about a train station, but I couldn't think of any. Chaotic energy? What are you talking about, the tea?
Yeah.
In Boston.
I mean, they're all pretty crazy.
So, yeah.
Chaotic train station? You mean any train station in Portland, Oregon? But yeah, those were super cool.
Yeah.
Pendulum in particular really spooked me.
I like that a lot.
Kind of like a purgatory type thing, you know? If you spend too long, you get trapped there type of thing.
As you were reading it, I was thinking that would be like a really good setting for like Dungeons and Dragons campaign or something.
Yeah. There's something you need there, but you can't stay too long.
Yeah.
Don't miss that evening train.
Yeah.
Very spooky. Like I said earlier, it's so interesting that you had one dream and then you realized it was familiar because you had already dreamed about it. That was crazy to me.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever had that happen. You've got a very good dream world building happening in your brain.
Yes. Very cool.
Thank you.
Thank you, Frederick. Thank you.
And we've got one more, another short but sweet trait from Jeremy.
Yeah. And Jeremy writes, I had this dream that every time I went to sleep, it started snowing. It got so bad that my family and I had to move to northern Canada so the government wouldn't find out about my power. Sweet dreams, Jeremy. Perfect. A perfect
and a
Jeremy
very logical
dream.
Solution.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we gotta move to Alaska.
I like that.
That's very good. Thank you,
You
Jeremy.
live in like Texas and it's like, why is it snowing every day?
Oh God, we gotta move.
Yeah.
And I mean, props to your family for packing up their life and moving you for your safety. That's very nice of them.
Not exiling you.
In that world, much like my city where it was illegal to be a shapeshifter, it's illegal to be some kind of elemental.
Yeah. Very good. Excellent dreams this
awesome.
week. Yeah.
Yes, thank you for your submissions, everyone. And where can people send them if they are having some cool dreams they want to share?
Yes. If you have any dreams you want to share, you can send them to dreamteampodcastsubmissions@gmail.com.
And if your friends have cool dreams, or your mom, or maybe your cat, tell them to send their dreams in too.
The more, the merrier.
And if you like the podcast, consider telling a friend about it.
Consider it. Don't actually do it. No, wait, do actually do it. Wait.
If you do like our podcast, do tell a friend. We would love to expand our listener base.
Yeah. The more the merrier.
Mm-hmm,
People, I feel like people like to talk about dreams, but the vast majority of people don't, or for some reason. So
yeah, I think that there's like a perception that it's like weird or boring.
Yeah, but we embrace it. We love it.
Yes, we will. I know I've said this before, but I read every single email that we get, no matter how weird or long or strange.
Mm-hmm.
I will read every one, and I appreciate every one that we get. So if you haven't heard your dream on our podcast, know that I've read it and I love it, and it still might show up in a future episode. And I thank you all for sharing your dreams. I think it's a very universal experience. I'm sure that every person has had some dream that has, to them, been worthy of a story. So Spread the word.
Yes.
So that we can share those cool dreams with more people.
Yes, absolutely.
And also, with every episode, we make a little post on our Instagram, which is...
It's Dream Team with Alice and Trent.
Yep, and that's on Instagram. And I'll usually put little pictures and drawings and stuff that are related to every episode.
Yeah. But yeah.
Join the Dream Team Temple.
Yeah. That's our social media network in your dreams.
Yes.
Yes. That's how we like text.
Yeah, if you're not sure where to find us, try dreaming about it. We'll probably be there somewhere.
Yeah. That's how we text about the show when we plan it. Mm-hmm. We schedule it.
Yeah, we never mentioned this, but we just sort of telepathically communicate while we sleep about each episode. Mm-hmm. And that's how we're recording it right now. We're just recording our brainwaves. Pretty cool.
Yeah. I just yawned.
And you could learn how too if you listen to our podcast.
Yeah.
That's not true. Sorry, I lied.
I just yawned, which means I'm tired, which means I'm going to wake up into the real world and not the dream recording world, I think. Whoa.
Anyway, thank you so much for listening.
Yeah.
We hope that you get great sleep this week and have the sweetest of dreams. But don't forget to send them to us after you have them.
Very true. All of them. No, you don't have to send all of them. Just the
cool ones.
Cool ones. Cool and interesting ones, yeah.
Yeah. But until then...
Thank you, everyone.
Yes, thank you, take care, and good night.
Good night.